Solomon had more wealth than any king in history, more wisdom than any man alive, more women than he could count. And he looked at all of it, every treasure, every accomplishment, every pleasure, and said one word: meaningless. The wisest man who ever lived called everything under the sun a complete waste. Now, before you dismiss this as ancient pessimism, understand something. Solomon wasn't depressed. He wasn't bitter. He was conducting the most brutal experiment in human history, testing whether anything on this earth can truly satisfy the human soul. Wealth, wisdom, power, women. He had it all, and his conclusion will either set you free or terrify you. What he discovered 3,000 years ago is something most people still refuse to accept. Solomon didn't stumble into despair. He chose it. In Ecclesiastes chapter 2, he tells us he deliberately set out to test every path a human being could walk. I said to myself, "Come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good." He built palaces that made kingdoms jealous. He planted vineyards and gardens that stretched beyond the eye could see. He amassed silver and gold from every nation. He hired the finest musicians. He denied himself nothing his eyes desired. And after drowning himself in every possible pleasure, he stepped back and looked at it all. Meaningless. Everything a chasing after the wind. This wasn't some poor man rationalizing his poverty. This wasn't a monk preaching detachment from his empty cell. This was the richest, wisest, most powerful man on earth, a man who had literally everything. And he is telling you that none of it was enough. If it wasn't enough for Solomon, what makes you think it will be enough for you? Solomon dove headfirst into pleasure. Wine, women, entertainment, he held nothing back. He didn't sip from the cup of hedonism, he drained it. 700 wives and 300 concubines, 1,000 women, and still empty inside. He built amusement parks before amusement parks existed. He threw feasts that lasted weeks. Every form of sensory stimulation available to the ancient world. And the verdict, laughter, he said, is madness. Pleasure accomplishes nothing. Even in laughter the heart may ache, and rejoicing may end in grief. Here's what Solomon discovered that modern psychology is just now catching up to: the hedonic treadmill. The more pleasure you chase, the more you need to feel the same high. The first taste excites you. The second satisfies. The third bores you. More is never enough. And yet our entire culture is built on the promise that the next purchase, the next relationship will finally make us happy. Solomon tested that promise, and it failed. If this truth from Scripture is opening your eyes, hit like and subscribe for more biblical wisdom that transforms. Because what comes next cuts even deeper. Now here's where it gets really uncomfortable. Solomon didn't just test pleasure. He tested wisdom itself, the very thing God gave him. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. The wisest man who ever lived is telling you that wisdom is a burden. Not because wisdom is bad, but because the more you understand about the world, the more you see its brokenness. Ignorance truly is bliss in one sense. You don't grieve what you can't see. But Solomon saw everything. He understood the patterns of human behavior, the corruption of power, the inevitability of death. Knowledge opened his eyes, and what he saw broke his heart. Think about your own life. The more you learn about how the world really works, the heavier it feels. Wisdom shows you the truth, but it cannot fix the world. Solomon discovered that even the greatest gift God gave him couldn't satisfy his soul. And that's precisely the point, because if wisdom can't do it, nothing under the sun can. So pleasure fails, wisdom hurts. What about work? Surely accomplishment means something. Solomon tested that too. He became the greatest builder of the ancient world, the temple of God, one of the most magnificent structures ever constructed. He built an entire royal complex that took 13 years to complete. Cities, storehouses, military fortifications. Build, create, achieve, repeat. And then he asked the question that haunts every ambitious person. Who will inherit all of this after I'm gone? I hated all the things I had toiled for, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. His own son Rehoboam proved him right. After Solomon died, Rehoboam's foolishness split the kingdom in two. Everything Solomon built, the united monarchy, the peace, the prosperity, torn apart in a single generation by one arrogant decision. Your legacy is never as secure as you think it is. You can work your entire life building something beautiful, and someone else can dismantle it before your body is cold. Solomon saw it coming, and it crushed him. But right in the middle of all this darkness, Solomon writes something breathtaking. Chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to weep and a time to laugh. These aren't just poetic words for wedding cards. Solomon is revealing something profound about how God operates. Everything has a season. Nothing lasts forever, not your pain, not your joy, not your success, not your failure. Spring becomes summer. Summer becomes fall, and fall always leads to winter. You cannot rush God's timing. You cannot skip seasons. The person weeping today will laugh tomorrow. The person laughing today will weep tomorrow. Seasons change, but God doesn't. The meaninglessness isn't in the events themselves. It's in trying to control them. We exhaust ourselves trying to force summer when God has us in winter. Stop fighting the season you are in and start learning from it. There's a lesson in every season, if you have the courage to sit still long enough to hear it. Solomon then turns his gaze to something that has tormented every thinking person in history: injustice. I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no comforter. Power was on the side of their oppressors. The king of Israel looked at his own kingdom and saw suffering he couldn't fix. Good people crushed, evil people prospering. The honest man loses while the corrupt man wins. Unfair. Solomon doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't offer a quick religious platitude. He even says something shocking. He envied the dead more than the living, because at least the dead are beyond the reach of injustice. Better than both is the one who has never been born, who has not seen the evil done under the sun. That's scripture. That's the wisest man who ever lived. And before you judge him, ask yourself, have you never looked at the world and thought, this isn't how it's supposed to be? Your frustration with injustice is proof you were made for a better world. Solomon felt it, you feel it, and that feeling is pointing you somewhere. And then Solomon arrives at the darkest room in Ecclesiastes: death. Rich, poor, wise, foolish. They all end up in the same place. The grave doesn't care about your bank account, your degree, your followers, or your legacy. The living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, and even their name is forgotten. Solomon strips away every illusion. You will die. Everyone you love will die. And given enough time, no one will remember any of us. Even the crown returns to dust. But Solomon isn't being cruel, he's being kind. Most people spend their entire lives pretending death isn't coming. They build empires as if they'll live forever. They postpone joy. They delay love. They waste decades chasing things that won't follow them past the grave. Death is the ultimate reality check for every human being alive. Solomon is shaking you awake. Stop sleepwalking through a life that has an expiration date. The clock is already ticking, and what you do with the time you have left matters more than you realize. Here's something most people miss about Ecclesiastes. Solomon repeats one phrase more than any other: meaningless. But the Hebrew word he uses is hevel, and it doesn't exactly mean meaningless. Hevel means vapor, breath, smoke. Here one moment and gone the next. Picture breathing on a cold morning. That cloud of breath appears for a split second and vanishes. That's hevel. Hevel, vapor, smoke, gone. Solomon isn't saying life has no value. He's saying life is fleeting, temporary. Everything you're holding onto right now, your job, your relationships, your health, your youth, it's all vapor, all passing through your fingers right now. And once you understand what hevel really means, the entire book shifts. Solomon isn't a nihilist. He's not saying nothing matters. He's saying nothing lasts. And there is a profound difference between those two statements. The beauty of a sunset is not diminished by its brevity. Your life matters, but it will end. And Solomon wants you to live accordingly, not with despair, but with urgency. Now here's where Solomon turns everything upside down. After 12 chapters of dismantling every earthly pursuit, after declaring everything under the sun meaningless, he reveals the answer. Go, eat your food with gladness, and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for God has already approved what you do. After all that darkness, Solomon tells us to eat, drink, and be glad. Yes, but notice the crucial detail, for God has already approved what you do. The joy isn't in the food, it's in God's approval. Enjoy. Solomon is saying something radical. Stop striving. Stop trying to earn your meaning. God already approves of you. Now go enjoy the simple gifts he's given you. Bread, wine, joy, not earned, received. The meaning was always in receiving God's gifts with simple gratitude. The simple meal with someone you love. The sunset you pause to watch. The laughter of your children. These aren't meaningless. They are the very gifts of God that Solomon spent 12 chapters leading you toward. And then Solomon delivers his final verdict. The last 2 verses of Ecclesiastes, the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. After testing every path, pleasure, wisdom, work, wealth, power, Solomon arrives at the only thing that isn't hevel, the only thing that isn't vapor, God himself. Fear God, keep his word. Everything under the sun is meaningless, but God is not under the sun. He is above it, beyond it, outside of time, outside of seasons, outside of death. The only thing that lasts forever is your relationship with the eternal God. The whole book was designed to strip away every false source of meaning, so that only the true source remains. 1. Pleasure fades, but God's joy is eternal. 2. Wisdom fails, but God's truth endures. 3. Work crumbles, but God's kingdom stands. 4. Death takes all, but God conquers the grave. Every path leads to the same conclusion. The vapor clears, and there stands God, unchanged, unmoved, unshaken. That was Solomon's discovery, and now it's yours. Solomon spent his entire life searching. He walked every road, opened every door, tasted every pleasure, studied every mystery. And at the end of it all, he found what was there from the beginning. God is enough. Not God plus wealth, not God plus wisdom, not God plus success, just God. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. That ache you feel, the sense that something is missing, that this world isn't quite enough, that's eternity calling. Solomon heard it, and now you've heard it too. If you made it this far, comment hevel to show you understand what Solomon was really saying. Stay in the Word, stay in the Spirit, and watch what God does.